to actually say, we're going to follow the state of Iran, the Islamic Republic of Iran, and actually tell you that, no, you were born in the wrong body. We're going to say that you're Martha, not Arthur, and eradicate the homosexuality. Bang on.
Because that does happen in Iran. It happens in several Asian countries, and who knows where else. So that impulse, as much as people would like to say, oh, that's the bogeyman, that's not a real, what you're talking about, or straw man, that impulse in humans, especially humans who don't like gay people, is there for everybody to see. That does happen.
Well, it was happening here. You know, the Tavistock, those whistleblower reports said so.
Yeah.
And I don't care if it's only like a handful of examples. Only. That's, a few kids too many, in my opinion, that could have changed themselves in ways in which they're going to look at their bodies in the future when they're adults and think, what on earth have I done to myself? And that then starts a spiral of, you were depressed when you did all of this and you were looking for answers, but you're depressed now and looking for answers at what decisions you were told were good for you by so-called responsible adults. So, I don't think anything that I've just said there is articulating a bigoted or transphobic argument. No. I think it's rational. It's based in fact, evidence, and it's based in, again, lived experience.
I was thinking, when you did articulate so brilliantly how you just spoke, that were there an audience, there would have been a standing ovation, because it was so beautifully put. And I'm so sorry you went through that growing up. I really am.
No, please. I mean, I've done well out of it now. I'm quite grateful, actually, for the start that I had in life. Margaret Thatcher once said that she was grateful she had two things growing up. She had good parents, I had one, and no money, because if you've got no money, you have to bloody well work for it. Mm-hmm. And you could have done without the homophobia, though. Oh yes, yeah, definitely.
Did you? And I honestly don't mean this in a facetious way. Did you watch Billy Elliot? Was that like an idol for you from Newcastle?
No, it wasn't. Yeah, well, actually from County Durham, so that
was right.
Yeah. So as perfect as you can possibly get, but watching that kind of thing growing up, I wouldn't have wanted to, because I would be worried that I don't know, someone might crack a joke and be like, oh, look, it's you, or something like that. And then I would feel like, uh-oh.
I was worried about being gay. I mean, any man who doesn't admit to that is either lying to themselves or just doesn't think.
Adolescence, puberty, all of these things, you're thinking about things.
It was bad. It was like this. I mean, obviously not bad, but we knew it would be seen as bad.
Yeah.
And you're 11. You're like, oh, what am I going to like? Girls or boys? What's going? Yeah. Oh, what if I'm gay?
What does this mean?
What a panic I had about that.
Yeah.
But one of the issues that you've touched on, I think this applies to all of us really, and Andrew Doyle talks about this, of course, a lot, is that once you talk about these things, once you're honest about them, you're banned from everywhere else. And so you can't then, for example, this podcast, I'd love to have a more diverse range, but I can't just ask David Beckham to come on, or someone who's not very famous, but it's just like middle ground and wants to talk about whatever. They won't come. There's no way they'll come on. They don't. I try sometimes. Yeah. So you're then stuck with just that. And then everyone accuses you of being in a bubble when you're only on one side. Andrew Doyle often talks about, like, he likes poetry and literature, and like that's what he wants to be doing. And instead you're just like, okay, no, but 99%, I like to doing cults and that stuff.
Yeah.
We're stuck in this one thing because we can't talk anymore.
Yeah, ideologically siloed.
Yeah.
And that gets you nowhere. So I think the one good thing that I've enjoyed about my time at GB News actually is the fact that we are regulated by Ofcom, and you have to have opinions from the other side. It's very difficult to get the other side sometimes, but on my show on a Saturday night, for example, I'm sat next to 2 seats down from Benjamin Butterworth, who is as woke. I mean, so woke, it's a wonder he ever sleeps.
I didn't know that was a person until Lawrence Fox said it, because it sounds like a cartoon cat. I mean, I'm not being fair, because it's his name. It's his name. He doesn't. It sounded like Benjamin Button. And,
yes, it does.
He must have been annoyed when that film came out. I imagine it was a book before. I don't know. But that brought it to the, and it's why in my life? I'm sure he's a lovely guy, but is very woke. But also then, so I was just having this debate with Calvin Robinson, as you saw when you came in. We had a nice hello and everything, but he doesn't think Lawrence Fox should have been in trouble for saying I wouldn't shag that about Ava. And that Dan for sort of smiling was then, and then he was also fired, Calvin, for just saying they shouldn't have been fired. Are you even? I mean, I don't want to put you in a position you can't talk about it.
I found that all of that entire saga really, really depressing. I mean, to be honest with you, like, you know, I was brought up almost exclusively around women, so hearing that kind of thing, like, it doesn't. I find it icky, but is finding it icky really a reason to have pages after pages of web articles and news reels saying reporting it as actual news? I don't think it was ever actual news. I think it was just a daft thing to say, to be honest, but each to their own. He's a big bloke. He can take care of himself.
And he said that he was referring to the ideology that she has. I wouldn't shag that, rather than making her into an object of which is a bit bad. So
yeah,
I don't.
I mean, I must admit, I haven't watched the interview that you did with him. I did watch the interview that you did with the ITV football commentator who used to be in the women's team.
Oh, Eni Luco.
That's it. And I thought that was phenomenal. But that's a sign of you actually being able to reach out across the ideological divide.
Few will.
Yeah.
Which is why when I tweeted...
Good for her for doing it, to be honest.
That's what I said. When I tweeted it out, I said, good for her for doing it. But we then did sort of fall out a bit messaging.
Right. Okay.
But that always tends to happen, unfortunately. You try so hard, because we do have, and I see that in you as well. We were like that idea of, hey, we can all be different and have these different views. But it was difficult because she continued tweeting, just what I thought. And again, it's all my opinion, was bonkers stuff about the interview and stuff like that.